What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. Welcome to your stimulus check update, stimulus package and infrastructure update and daily news report for Friday, May 21st. Hopefully you guys have an incredible Friday. Now today, the GOP negotiators will meet with White House officials to discuss their infrastructure package. This is something that we've been waiting on all week. We were told that we would get an update on this earlier in this week. However, it never came. President Biden is still moving forward with the hopes of reaching a bipartisan agreement. However, some Democrats urge President Biden to just move forward with a budget reconciliation, as this will be faster and it will be less stressful. We also know progressives say that right now they have the power to end poverty by implementing bold proposals. Economists believe that stimulus checks for lower income earners will eventually be called upon by President Biden himself and the Biden administration. The $300 per week in unemployment boost is something that the White House says they can't do anything about, and Republican governors actually have the final say in what goes out. And then we know the IRS is saying that they have over 6 million tax returns in suspension right now while they await processing. So again, that's what we're going to discuss in today's video. Hopefully you guys have an incredible day. If you could, go ahead, hit that like button. It really does help out the channel. Now, let's talk about progressives first. I want to talk about progressives for one main reason. Currently, there's over 70 progressives. There's like 50 to 60 progressives in the House that are pushing for an additional stimulus check. They want to see monthly checks. The goal for progressives is not to give a check to somebody that's making, $250,000. The goal with progressives is to fight poverty, to help out the lower income earners, even the middle class. That's the goal with progressives. Now, the U.S. Progressive Chair, Pramila Jayapal, she said that she wants to provide big and bold legislation. And she wants to do this by providing housing, healthcare, climate justice, and equitable public education. What she is saying right now is that housing is too expensive. Okay? Housing is just too expensive. Pramila Jayapal is from Washington State. Washington, in the Seattle area, housing is very expensive. Okay? But what we know is healthcare is an issue. It's too expensive, and some people will not even pay for healthcare simply because they can't afford it. Also, climate justice. It's another big one, but an even bigger one is equitable public education. From the Biden administration directly, they are saying that we need at least 2 more years of education. This is one of the reasons why that, yes, going from kindergarten through 12th grade is a must. However, if we can go from pre-K, even pre-kindergarten, right, 3 and 4 year olds, we can get in maybe an additional 2 years of education there before kindergarten, and then add on an additional maybe 1 to 2 years of community college, and add on an additional 4 years. That's what we need. That's what the American people need, according to the Biden administration. That's what they say will help get us closer to where China and some of these other countries are at, because they are higher up on that education scale than us here in the United States. So we will see what happens there, but progressives are saying that they have the power to end poverty, but in order to end poverty, we must provide for the low-income individuals. Those are the ones that are poor, obviously. So why are we not providing for the lower income earners if the goal is to end poverty? That's the big question mark right now. Is the Biden administration is trying to provide infrastructure and other things, which is great and which is needed to compete with other countries, for example, China. However, the problem is if we aren't providing for the lower income earners and building them up, propping them up, then really it's the high income earners that are trying to hold everybody up, and that's going to be a big issue, especially with Democrats that say that the high income earners shouldn't be paid whatever they are. If it's $50 million a year, if you made $1 trillion this year, or your net worth went up $1 trillion, like Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, people like that all combined. So right now what we're seeing is just a mix of different emotions, a mix of different styles, and right now there's really no direction from the Biden administration as to how they want to move forward. And this is what many Democrats say is unnerving, is right now they're not sure what the next step is going to be. So again, we will see what happens as we get a little bit closer to some type of agreement on this infrastructure package. But what I can tell you is that many economists believe, okay, this is not something that it's a guarantee, but many economists currently believe that stimulus checks to lower income earners will eventually happen. They say that we must wait for the Biden administration to accept a lower offer to accept that we will get a lower offer from Republicans, which we will know more about that today, or they say we need to wait for Biden himself to realize that a bipartisan deal will never happen on infrastructure, especially when Republicans are coming in at like $600 billion, or they were. Who knows what they're going to come in later on today. But if Republicans are at $600 billion, Democrats are at 2.25 or let's say even $4 trillion. Okay, that's a big gap. There's no way we're going to come somewhere in the middle. It's just not going to happen at this time. So economists are saying that once this happens, the Biden administration should be able to realize that no stimulus check and expiring unemployment benefits together combined is actually a recipe for disaster. And some are expecting that sometime over this summer, President Biden will come around and demand Congress include stimulus checks into his Build Back Better plan. What I can say regarding this is I do think stimulus checks have a spot in this next package. It will not be to every single American. Okay, I'm not going to go out on a limb and just guarantee it's going to happen, but I do believe after reading a lot of different reports, things from economists, experts, lawmakers as well, I do believe, I have a firm belief that yes, we will see an additional stimulus check. We will get a fourth stimulus check, but it will not go to every single American that got the third one. It's just not going to happen. We will most likely not see a third or a fourth stimulus check go out to adult dependents either, because there are going to be other things in the infrastructure package that will go out to adult dependents. This is going to be for Medicare. This will also be things probably for student loan forgiveness in some fashion, at some capacity. But just keep in mind that the stimulus check itself, the actual stimulus check, is most likely not going to go to every single person that received the last one. So because of that, okay, just keep that in mind. This is where we're going to start to see that kind of change, that shift. Again, I do believe we're going to see more regarding the child tax credits. I do believe more is going to go out to parents. More will go out to the lower income individuals and people that are, in poverty or very close to that line. So I do think we're going to see more there. But just keep in mind and make sure you subscribe to this channel so I can actually keep you updated on everything that's currently going on. But just keep in mind, as more and more reports come out, as the economy opens up, as maybe vaccinations increase, we're starting to get a slow, but as vaccinations increase and hopefully everything works out perfectly. But if everything just perfectly falls into place, then no, I don't think stimulus checks will happen. But as of right now, experts do say there's going to be some kind of bumps in the road. So as we get those bumps, chances are we're going to get more talks, more discussions, and possibly additional proposals on another stimulus check, possibly extending unemployment benefits, maybe not to the tune of $300 per week, but we could see what happens there. What I can tell you right now is that regarding the $300 per week, okay, regarding the PUA, the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, regarding the different unemployment programs that the federal government has implemented over this pandemic, what I can tell you is right now we are seeing the White House come out and say that there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do. They've looked into different possibilities, and Republican governors actually have the final call here. They get to decide whether or not their residents receive the $300 per week boost, whether people on self-employed individuals will get unemployment benefits, and if people will still get long-term unemployment benefits as well. Currently, we really only have 26 weeks of state unemployment benefits. After that, that's where the federal benefits actually kick in for the pandemic. So there's going to be a lot of people that lose their benefits come September 6th. But as of right now, there's currently 22 states that are going to be canceling unemployment benefits from the federal level a little bit early, about 2 months early. This means that there's going to be about 3.6 million people that will lose out on about $21.7 billion in benefits. And again, this is just from 22 states. So there was going to be a lot of issues once the entire program is done on September 6th. And right now, there's no indication that Congress is going to extend this, because right now, even some progressives, even some moderates are saying that they don't feel like extending the unemployment benefits would be necessary at this time. But if they do find that it's not working, people are not going back to work, the unemployment rate is actually increasing, then chances are they would come back to the table sometime later in the fall and pass an additional bill, more of a standalone bill for unemployment benefits. But that's something that we will see later on. Now, even Bernie Sanders had something to say about this. And he came out the other day and said, and I quote, "Democrats in Congress secured life-saving unemployment aid to workers so they wouldn't have to go back to work for starvation wages or without child care." And I want to address this for a couple reasons. First off, he says that they wouldn't have to go back to work for starvation wages. What we are seeing right now is many employers are having to pay more money now after the pandemic. We're not actually done with this pandemic, but now than when the pandemic started. And this is because there's a lot more employees out there, okay? But these employees are getting these benefits from the federal government, so they have leverage. This is exactly what I talked about yesterday, is that right now experts are saying that while you have the leverage, go and use that leverage to increase your pay. Figure out a way, go apply for jobs that are going to increase your pay. And by increasing your pay, you will have more money to spend on other things. It will prop up the economy and everything will work out just great. Now, the other thing I want to address is that Bernie Sanders said go back to work for starvation wages or without childcare. This is the other issue. This is something that we are seeing happen, and this is something I talked about in yesterday's, I think, second video, is that Senator Elizabeth Warren is pushing for $700 billion in childcare. That's what she wants. A child care infrastructure package, $700 billion. So a huge portion of the entire package is just going to go to child care, according to Elizabeth Warren. Now, Bernie Sanders is saying the exact same thing. He's not calling for $700 billion, but he is saying that this is one of the things that they need. If you want people to go back to work, then the unemployment benefit is needed, or you have to provide child care and get rid of starvation wages. Well, we know starvation wages and the minimum wage increase, there's talks on it, but chances are it's not going to happen. But the employers themselves are actually moving forward with this. However, for childcare, that's something that is in the infrastructure package that we will see happen, that is coming, but it just depends how much and to what extent, and obviously when. But that's something that we do know is coming. Now, the $300 payments per week are a huge boost to the unemployed. However, many experts worry that the $300 boost isn't the biggest issue. The biggest issue, according to many experts, is that the payments that are going out to the self-employed workers, those are the ones that will be hit the hardest. The self-employed, the gig workers, people that drive for Uber and Lyft and different companies like that. Those are the ones that are going to be impacted the most because they will lose everything. Not just the $300 per week. They will lose everything, the $300 per week, their state benefits, which they wouldn't qualify for under normal unemployment assistance. So right now, that's a huge thing that people are discussing, but we will see what happens there, because honestly, right now, this unemployment issue is just getting started. It was just a week and a half ago, a little over a week ago, that we started to get reports that the unemployment benefits were going to be canceled by Montana and I believe it was South Carolina at that time. Now it's 20 more states, including those two. So we'll see what happens, but as I know more, I promise I'll come back and share more. The last thing that I want to address is the IRS. First off, the IRS is going to be sending or pretty much putting together this child tax credit portal. They should be opening this up in the next couple of weeks, according to reports. But the big news from the IRS is that the IRS is saying that they have over 6 million tax returns that are technically in suspension, simply waiting to be processed. Now, the reason for this is due to the fact that under the previous administration with Donald Trump, there was a bill passed for $900 billion. In that bill, that was in late December. I think it passed on December 27th, I believe. I could be wrong, could be off by a couple days, but I think it's pretty close. Now, the IRS, being that this was passed so late in the year, the IRS didn't have time to change their system to allow for your 2020 tax returns or tax filers to pick between the 2020 income or 2019 income. And the reason for this is because one of the things that Congress wanted to do at that time was provide people with an additional benefit, another tax credit. Well, by being able to choose whether you use 2020 taxes or 2019, this allowed people to get a bigger earned income tax credit if they qualify just by being able to decide between those 2 years. So some people will get more money because of this, but in order for this to actually work, being that it wasn't introduced into the system, what we know is that these 6 million returns are being held while they await a manual review. So there's a lot of stuff going on with the IRS right now. My guess is they will be a little bit behind. They are catching up, but we are still hearing reports that they are waiting on more people to come back to work, obviously due to COVID and protections. That's one of the things that they are currently a little bit delayed on. So as we get more information there, I promise I'll keep you updated on those things as well. If you have any questions regarding stimulus, if you have any questions regarding really anything right now, let me know, okay? I do read your comments. I do read your questions. Try to answer them more in a video form. One of the things that we are seeing pop up again, and I just want to reiterate this, is there's a lot of scams out there. Okay, 100%, they are happening. I know people are getting scammed, and I want to try to avoid that as much as possible. One of the things that you're going to see down in the comment section, okay, first off, I do try to comment as much as I can. The problem is I'm also trying to delete these spam comments as well. What you're going to see is a comment from me, or it looks like it's from me. It's going to use my picture, use my name, but it's going to ask you to send money to WhatsApp or send a message. It's going to talk to you about Bitcoin, talk to you about how I've made more than my stimulus check in the last couple weeks. And so all these things are just scams. They're just trying to get you to message them, and then they're going to try to take your money, all right? So I will not ever have you message me. Obviously, I don't have a lot of time. I run multiple businesses, so I don't have a lot of time to send messages back and forth on WhatsApp. I'm not even on WhatsApp. I don't do messages on Facebook anymore because I just got too overwhelmed and I was getting thousands of messages every single day. So I don't do that anymore. If you want to send me an email, you can send me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. If you don't know where to get my email, well, then you probably don't need it. But again, if you have any questions, let me know. You can always ask in the comment section below. I just want to thank you guys for watching. All right. Again, I really do appreciate you guys. I really do appreciate the comments, the questions, all the support. Without you guys, I wouldn't continue to do two uploads every single day on stimulus and the new news. So I want to thank you guys. You guys are amazing. You guys are wonderful. Have an incredible day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.